which was Atlanta Falcons versus New Orleans Saints. The Saints pulled that one out. Matt Ryan had a decent game. 288 yards, 22 for 36 passing. But then you take a look at Drew Brees. Not as many attempts, but man, oh man, the percentage of receptions to attempts, 21 out of 28 for 239 yards. Old man still got it.
Absolutely. It was a revenge game, and I think that if the Falcons lost and the Lions win, I think they would have made the playoffs, and it would eliminate the Falcons.
And the Saints are sitting 11-4 now.
And literally, the crazy thing is the Falcons still have a chance. Wow. I think they have to win the game against the Panthers since the Lions lost today. But if they win that game, I think they're in the playoffs now.
What's the Falcons' best chance? Because I'm looking at the rushing. In this game, it definitely isn't the rushing.
You
got Julio Jones. Yeah, I was just about to go to the passing game. You got Julio Jones, and they went to him 7 times, which is almost twice as many as any other receiver. And an average of 21.3 yards per reception. That's something else. Do you have any idea what Julio Jones is at for the year? We mentioned AJ Green.
Way over 1,000.
Way over 1,000.
I think he's like top 5 in receiving yards this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one game against the Buccaneers this year, he had like over 250 receiving yards.
Okay.
And he was killing it that game. And I think that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, obviously, I think that Des Bryant and Dak Prescott, like we said, probably wish they had that same connection as Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. I have a good reason or, feeling on why it's working is because they played together for so long already. Like this was year 7 for that duo.
Wow.
So they know each other. Like he knows what routes he likes to run. He knows what routes he's going to get open. Dak Prescott and Des Bryant still have to figure that out. And that's why there was a lot of inconsistency between them. So I think those are good people to look up to. They're playing longer. Matt Ryan is a smart quarterback. He knows what plays works. And I think that when you're a young quarterback, you don't know what works and what doesn't. You're still trying to figure that out. And I think that's what they need to figure that out for sure.
Atlanta's defense didn't look horrible. They had more tackles than the Saints did. Do you think obviously that combination of Brees to Jones is deadly, but was there anything else that tipped the scales in the New Orleans favor? The defenses seemed kind of similar, but the offense just was more powerful on the Saints side today.
Turnovers, I think there was one play, Marshawn Lattimore had tipped it off on his back. It was on his back, and he had a crazy interception, which probably is going to make the highlights for best interceptions of the season.
Nice.
And, I think that was the turning point of the game, was his interception from Matt Ryan.
When was that?
I think it was fourth quarter, so obviously you can't be turning the ball over in the fourth quarter. I think that, Matt Ryan's been playing well. I think that, sometimes they're not closing out games as they should be.
Okay.
And I think that's why the record is. I think, if you look back at it, they should be having kind of the same record as Philly this year, kind of maybe only losing 3-4 games where it wasn't impressive, but most of the time it was just late turnovers and, little lackluster, plays, I would say.
I'll tell you, just from the look of the game, Atlanta Falcons didn't show up till the second half, which I think we've talked about in other episodes that games are won and lost in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter. And the Falcons did well. They outscored the Saints 10-3 in the fourth quarter, but it was a classic example of too little, too late. When you have a goose egg going into halftime, that's tough to come back from, especially when you know that you're facing the offensive weapons that the Saints possess.
Absolutely. That's the thing about the, NFL is that, even if you have a halftime or even if you look a little sluggish, at halftime it's not a big deal, but once that fourth quarter hits, it's kind of too late, even though you're playing catch up at that point, trying to just catch up and keep this, good game going.
Yeah, you're down 20-3 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's
tough.
That's a little rough to come back from, and that's why a lot of teams don't win from that, and they can't overcome it. I think the Falcons, though, they have a really good shot in the playoffs this year, I would say. Even though they kind of looked like if they clean up those little mistakes that they made this game, I think that they'll be a scared team going into the playoffs.
Awesome. Any other final thoughts on any of the games that we were talking about?
No, I think I've got everything out there.
Covered it all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've covered all our bases for this episode. Join us next week when we go into 2017.
Week 17.
Week 17.
Last week, finale of the NFL
Can't wait
season.
to see what happens.
What will happen? Will the Falcons win this game? Will the Falcons be able to stop Cam Newton and that high-powered offense? There's a lot of good things to discuss. I think, will we see a lot of backups be able to play this game? Because there's going to be a lot of teams probably coming up, resting their starters to keep them healthy for that postseason.
What will come of the ongoing Nick Foles saga and his development with the Eagles?
Yep. What will come? We will see you next episode.
See ya.
Bye.